On a prime corner of Park Avenue in Manhattan, an opulent marble mansion once stood, complete with a soaring two-story Gothic hall and a rooftop orchid garden. It was the home of Arthur Curtis James, a Gilded Age tycoon whose name might not be as famous as Vanderbilt or Rockefeller, but whose wealth and influence rivaled the era's titans. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. In 1867, Arthur Curtis James was born into a family of great wealth and opportunity. His grandfather had co-founded the Phelps Dodge and Company mining empire, and his father, Daniel Willis James, further expanded the family fortune through copper mining and railroad investments. Arthur enjoyed an elite education. He graduated from Amherst College in 1889, and in 1890 he married Harriet Eddy Parsons, his college sweetheart. In 1907, Arthur inherited the bulk of his father's estate, about $26 million, the modern equivalent of nearly $900 million. This enormous inheritance provided the capital for Arthur to vastly expand his business endeavors. By the years after World War I, he had quietly assembled holdings in numerous rail lines, controlling about 40,000 miles of track, roughly 1/7 of the entire U.S. railroad network. He believed passionately in the growth of the American West, and he invested heavily in Western railroads. In 1926, for example, James stealthily acquired a controlling interest in the Western Pacific Railroad. He even participated in some literal golden moments of rail history. James was integral to completing the Great Northern Transcontinental Line, reportedly driving the final golden spike to celebrate the railroad's connection from Chicago to the Pacific coast. By the 1920s, Arthur Curtis James was the largest private owner of railroad stock in America and one of the nation's most powerful transportation magnates. When not managing railroads and mines, Arthur pursued a deep passion for yachting and the sea on the Aloha, the largest private sailing yacht of its kind at the time. Amidst all these endeavors, Arthur and Harriet James maintained a lifestyle of luxurious but thoughtful living. The couple spent summers at an expansive Newport estate named Beacon Hill House, which they built in 1909 on Newport's highest hill. There, Harriet indulged her love of gardens by creating the famed Blue Garden, a dazzling 10-acre array of indigo and violet blooms that became renowned in gardening circles. Arthur, meanwhile, constructed a whimsical Swiss village on the Newport grounds, a cluster of farm buildings modeled after a village the pair had admired on their honeymoon in Switzerland. The Newport estate grew to 125 acres as James bought up surrounding land, essentially creating his own private realm of gardens, farms, and scenic lookouts. By the early 1910s, with their business empire thriving, the Jameses turned their attention to building a suitable primary residence in New York City. Arthur's professional obligations kept him in Manhattan much of the year, and they desired a home that could accommodate lavish entertaining and reflect their cultivated taste. In 1913, they acquired a prestigious site at Park Avenue and East 69th Street, conveniently located in the fashionable Upper East Side, and large enough for a mansion to rival any on Fifth Avenue. What they proceeded to build would become one of the most remarkable private houses in New York, a city residence truly fit for a railroad baron. The couple spared no expense in constructing their Manhattan mansion in 1914, spending an estimated $1 million to build it, the modern equivalent of about $32 million. To design their urban palace, the Jameses chose the Boston-based architectural firm of Allen & Collins, known for its mastery of grand institutional buildings and churches. Architects Francis Allen and Charles Collins delivered a stately design influenced by the English Renaissance style, tailored to a corner lot. The mansion presented three imposing facades clad in elegant gray marble, Tennessee marble from Knoxville, and white English marble, with rich classical details. Rising 4 stories tall, the structure was ingeniously massed so that from the street it appeared to be only 3 stories, with the 4th floor being set back behind a balustraded parapet to reduce its visual bulk. The result was a harmonious and dignified exterior that belied the building's immense size. Passing through heavy bronze front doors, visitors entered an interior of breathtaking richness and craftsmanship. The entrance hall alone set the tone. It was a lofty marble hall with a floor and 2 levels connected by broad steps. James and his architects were inspired by Byzantine art for this space. The hall's floors and lower walls were inlaid with a complex pattern of colored marbles in various colors arranged in mosaic designs. The marble columns and pilasters had finely carved capitals, and the stone surfaces were given an antique finish to evoke an old-world patina. A grand staircase began in the entrance hall, its first flight consisting of 3 broad steps the full width of the hall, leading up to the main stair landing. This staircase was a showpiece in itself. It featured an exquisitely wrought perforated bronze balustrade and a massive newel post, all designed in an Italian Renaissance style. Along the staircase, a tall stained glass window cast jewel-tone light. while elsewhere, the hall's windows were fitted with leaded glass casements and decorative bronze screens to soften the sunlight. From this dramatic entry hall, one could proceed to the mansion's heart, the Great Hall. True to its name, the mansion's Great Hall was an awe-inspiring space that evoked the baronial halls of Europe. It stretched roughly 50 feet in length by 25 feet in width, and its ceiling soared 34 feet high, encompassing 2 full stories of the house. The design was English Gothic Revival, executed with impeccable materials. The lower walls were lined in dark oak wainscoting, and the upper panels of the woodwork were exquisitely hand-carved with intricate designs, all topped by a fine oak crusting that ran around the entire room's perimeter. Above the wood wainscoting, the upper walls were finished in rough cream-colored plaster, intentionally left unpainted and undecorated so as to provide a neutral backdrop for hanging tapestries and artwork. High up near the ceiling, a carved frieze and cornice in oak wrapped the hall, and at intervals this frieze was punctuated by small medieval figurines, statuettes mounted as if standing guard over the hall. The ceiling itself was a masterpiece. It consisted of 3 bays divided by ornate hammer-beam trusses of carved oak, complete with ornamental tracery in the openwork and gilded bosses accenting the intersections. One end of the Great Hall featured a minstrel's gallery perched above an arched doorway. In days when the Jameses entertained, a small ensemble of organists could play from this balcony, filling the hall with music. Flowing off the Great Hall were several elegant ground floor rooms. The dining room was decorated in an English Renaissance motif, showcasing lighter wood and a lighter mood after the dark Gothic hall. The walls were fully paneled in pale, satiny English lime wood, a fine-grained wood well suited for intricate carving. The upper panels of this lime wood boasted carvings in the style of Granling Gibbons, the famous 17th century master carver. Cascades of flowers, fruits, and lace-like motifs were sculpted in relief, adding a delicate artistry to the room. One of the most delightful surprises in the Arthur Curtis James house was hidden on the 3rd floor. There, the Jameses created a spectacular solarium and indoor garden that must have felt like a private Eden in the middle of Manhattan. Approached via a long gallery hung with paintings, one passed through wrought iron gates into the solarium. This was essentially a roof garden under glass, an area enclosed by brick walls and overhead skylights filled with beds of fern, shrubs, and seasonal flowers. Climbing vines wound up trellises along the walls, and brick-paved walks led among the flowers. As fate would have it, both Arthur and his beloved wife Harriet fell into poor health around the same time. Harriet James had been enduring an illness for nearly a decade, and on May 15, 1941, she passed away at age 73. The loss of his wife was a devastating blow to Arthur. Only a few weeks later, on June 4, 1941, Arthur Curtis James passed away at the age of 74. The couple never did have any children. In his will, the bulk of his fortune went into a philanthropic trust called the James Foundation, with instructions that it be used to benefit charitable, religious, and educational institutions. Characteristically, he set a condition that the funds would be fully spent within 25 years of his passing, ensuring that his wealth would immediately do good works. Over the next couple decades, millions and millions of dollars were distributed to hospitals, churches, and schools, just as Arthur had intended. Like many Gilded Age mansions in Manhattan, the Arthur Curtis James house enjoyed only a brief life before the tides of change swept it away. In the mid-1940s, following an estate auction which included his art collections, the mansion was sold to developers and promptly demolished. Today, no visible trace remains of Arthur Curtis James' New York City mansion. Its address, 39 East 69th Street, is now occupied by a luxury apartment residence that few passerby would guess sits atop a once palatial home. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. What did you think about this mansion? Did you have a favorite room? Let me know down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.